Hey mathematicians, I hope you're having a great day so far. I am so excited to be back with you tomorrow, but for today, we're going to be doing our number talk and mini lesson online together. So I'm wondering, based on the picture you see here, if there are any of these that you think represent 1/4 of a whole. So go ahead and type in a play pause it which ones, or maybe none, or maybe just one of them, is representing 1/4 and explain how you know. So don't just put A, don't just put B, explain why that is equal to 1/4. Go ahead and do that now. Awesome, I love the thinking you entered. A is actually representing 1/4 because we see 2/8 shaded in, and 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. B is 4/8, which is equivalent to a half, so B does not work. And C, we do not have the same size of pieces. So A is the only one that is representing 1/4. Here's one more for you to try. Which of these is representing 1/4? Go ahead and enter your answer into play pause it now, but make sure you don't just say a letter, you also explain why. Okay. A is not equal to 1/4. Yes, one of the pieces out of 4 are shaded, but they are not the same size pieces. B, they are also not the same size pieces, so B does not work. C is equivalent to 1/4 because we have one shaded out of 4 total pieces and they are the same size. So C is equal to 1/4. Nice job with number talk today. Let's move on to our mini lesson, and today we're going to continue talking about how mathematicians can decide if fractions are equivalent to each other. And just as a reminder, when we are determining if a fraction is equivalent to another fraction, remember that the size of the whole matters. Here we see 2/3 and 4/6, and they are the same length, so they're equivalent. But we also see 2/3 here and 4/6 here, but they're not equivalent, and that is because the size of the whole has changed. The size of the whole is much bigger here than it is here, so these fractions are not equivalent because the size of the whole is not the same. So it's so important that the size is exactly the same when we are comparing fractions and deciding if it's an equivalent fraction. All right, your job today is to either say no thanks or aw yeah to these two fractions being equivalent. So we've got 3/4 and we've got 8/12. Do you think that they are equivalent? If so, then you're going to type aw yeah and explain why. If you think no, you're going to type no thanks and explain why. Are these equivalent to each other? No thanks or aw yeah and explain why. All right. You either answered aw yeah or no thanks. I'm going to let you know that it is no thanks, and here's why. If I were to get out some fraction tiles and show 3/4 and show 8/12, they would not be the same length. And yesterday we talked about how we can multiply the numerator and denominator by the same amount, and it should give us an equivalent fraction. Well, I know if I multiply by 3, I can get 4 times 3, and that'll be 12. But if I do 3 times 3, that would equal 9. So I know 3/4 is equal to 9/12, but not 8/12. If I were to draw a picture, you would see that 3/4 is a little bit bigger than 9/12 as well. Let's go on to the next one. 1/2 and 4/8. Do you think no thanks or aw yeah? Enter your thinking into play pause it and explain why. All right, you should have answered this question. If you said aw yeah, you are correct. And here's why. If we have a shape, let me get a different shape. If we have a hole and we cut it in half and we shade in that half, I can partition the shape even more. So now I've got 4ths is equal to 2/4. but I can partition it into eighths. So I can multiply by 4 on the numerator and denominator. And when I do that, I get 8 pieces. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them shaded in. So these are equivalent because they're the same size. Last one today. 5/8 and 4/6. Are these equivalent? Go ahead and enter your thinking and explain why and play pause it. All right, if you said no thanks, you are correct. Let's get another whole. And let's partition it into sixths. So I'm going to do thirds first. And then split those thirds in half and it will make sixths. All right. And I'm going to shade in 4 of those pieces because there's 4/6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have 4/6 represented. But I'm not able to make eighth pieces by splitting these in half. That would make 12ths. So because I can't have a denominator that is equal to 8 by having equal pieces, I am not able to make an equivalent fraction with sixths and eighths. So this is a no thanks because 5/8 is actually really close to the same size as 4/6, but one is a little bit bigger. So it's really important that you notice when you make a fraction in the picture, if you can't make that same amount of, if you can't make pieces that are equal, then it's gonna be not equivalent. So we can't make eighths out of sixths, so these fractions are never going to be equivalent. Awesome thinking today. We're gonna continue talking about equivalent fractions, but tomorrow we're gonna move in small group, but tomorrow we're gonna move on to comparing fractions. So determining which fraction is bigger than another. Please remember as you go into math workshop that you keep all of these behaviors in mind, manage your time wisely, respect your colleagues, work the whole time, and bring your best. Remember, there will not be small group today. Mrs. Gustus will be around to make sure you are working quietly on your rotations the whole time. Please make sure that you are following her directions, and if you need help, she's happy to help you. For reflection today, we're going to do it right now. Could you type in a play pause it what fractions are equivalent to the one below, 6/8? Can you type in 2 fractions that you think are equivalent to 6/8? Enter that now. All right, great thinking. One fraction could have been 3/4. Another could have been 12/16. And there's many more you could have typed in. But those are 2 options that I would have typed in. Now it's time for you to begin rotation 1. Make sure you are working the whole time quietly, and Mrs. Gustus will let you know when you need to move to a new rotation. Have a great time in math workshop, and please follow your schedule. It will look different today because there are no math groups.